are on Patreon, thank you so very much. I greatly appreciate your subscriptions. If you're interested in supporting the channel in that way, you can go to patreon.com and look up Engelgeist, choose a subscription level, and over there you get the daily forecast and other readings that are available only over there every month, depending on the subscription level you choose. This is the Tarotscope for February of 2021 for the sign of Virgo. So this is for anybody with a sun, moon, or rising or heavily placed planets in the sign of Virgo. I would say heavily placed planets would count as 3 or more planets. So if you have, 3 different planets, including like Chiron or Lilith or Ceres in the sign of Virgo, you may want to watch this video because it will give you a little bit of insight into what kind of February you could be having. It is broad spectrum, so you have to figure out where it best places in your life. If anything doesn't make sense or doesn't sound like your life, that's completely fine. It could be the degrees, the houses, or other planets at play in your astrology that could be affecting stuff, so it doesn't mean anything's broken or wrong. And always, when watching any of my videos, if you make any decisions in your life after having watched any of the videos, know that those decisions are 100% your responsibility. Never take anything that I say over that of a professional in their field, i.e. a doctor, a lawyer, a therapist. Always listen to their advice first and foremost over anything I say. All right, so let's get into this Virgo and see what's going on for the Virgo card of the month. Your sort of guide card is coming from the Power Animal Oracle cards. So we're going to see what power animal you're working with this month. It could be insight into a perspective we want to keep, or a focus we want to be aware of, or just it could be a guide, an animal we want to touch base with, visualize throughout the month. Okay. So your animal is fertility. Get it, rabbit? It says your creativity is at a peak. So I like that. I will say this though. This kind of feels a little bit in Virgo's wheelhouse as far as an animal is concerned. The reason being is Virgo rules the nervous system. And when I think of rabbits, they feel a bit nervous. They are kind of quick thinkers and they move quickly through their environment. They move at a fast pace, that sort of a thing. So I think that that's sort of comfortable for Virgo. You guys might find yourselves doing quite a bit this month. When we're talking about your creativity is at a peak, you might find yourself running around a lot in February, getting things done. The fertility aspect of this, some of you could take that literally. Maybe some of you Virgos might be getting knocked up. Just be careful. You might have like 6 or 7 babies all at once. I'm kidding, Virgo. But it could be fertile for ideas and the execution of those ideas. I kind of like in my mind's eye, I'm seeing this rabbit sort of running around back and forth, trying to get like this in order and that in order to have this ready for that and all of these sort of things. So I think that this is a good time to run on that. I also feel like energy should be high, hopefully. I mean, barring that you don't have other signs affecting planets in really heavy duty ways, the majority of the Virgos might have stores of energy, because when we're talking about our creativity being at its peak, that word peak really makes me think that, Virgo going to get busy in February. Speaking of getting busy, the rabbit could also signify just some, physical connection could be nice and welcomed in the month of February for my Virgos. So don't be surprised if you're looking a little bit more attractive to others. There could be some of that too, because fertility can also indicate that kind of an aspect, in the sense that we become, not only does our creative energy start flowing and we feel more creative and more full of ideas, but that's also a very attractive energy to other people. So we could be finding, opportunities to attract that sort of a thing. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. You sexy rabbits, All right, so let's see what the cards have to say. This first card is where you're centered at in the month of February. It will sort of kind of go in and out of this card throughout the month. It's not like necessarily set for the entire month, but it gives us insight into where you're kind of, you know, where your sort of perspective is at throughout the majority of the month. It also gives us insight into what could potentially be being created in the future. All right, so let's look at this. So we have the Knight of Swords. I do like this. It kind of keys into this quickness of the rabbit. The Knight of Swords can be its air, so it's the element of the mind. When we think about fertility in the mind or creativity being at its peak, the Knight of Swords would certainly be a great card for that. The Knight of Swords would be, to me, about like taking action, doing the right things for the right reasons, sort of moving in, doing sort of everything quickly, fast. The only thing with the Knight of Swords that would indicate sometimes the Knight of Swords can get ahead of himself or a little bit like not see everything from every angle. So we may want to like be a little bit aware of that. I'm going to see what the other cards are to see if that's a big issue with this Knight of Swords, but that would only be that would be the only downside. I feel like there's a lot of opportunity, obviously, because it's a swords card, for us to be in our brain thinking about situations, how to better them, how to make them better for ourselves, doing that work, showing up, being present. Even with this design of this white owl, there's a purity and a sweeping in where he's like sort of sweeping down on everything. There's always this sort of speed to the picture of the Knight of Swords in any deck, right? He always feels like he's rushing in, he's charging in. And that's that speed that I thought with the rabbit, like zipping around in my mind's eye. It's sort of like you guys are going to have a desire or a push to want to get more done physically. Even in the midst of, say, maybe, you know, restrictions that might be going on, you'll be finding ways to take the steps to get the things done that you need to get done, so that you can. I don't even know that you're going to want to rest in March, but like it just feels to me like there's a lot of activity in these two cards. So just be mindful of that in February. Let's go to the Foundation card and see what that has to say. The Foundation is from the past. It kind of gives us a little insight into what was going on in the past that opened the door for everything to be the way that it is today. It's this card, we look at it so that we can understand what was going on, but also this card kind of holds everything in place, the memory of it, or sometimes it can also be what's pushing things in the now or like propelling us forward. So we want to be aware of it from that perspective. So this is the King of Cups. I'm not mad at it. It is a complementary energy to the earth energy of Virgo. It is a very loving card. I feel like maybe we've been thinking in the last few months or so, we've been in this state of trying to remain calm, cool, collected, in love with things, emotionally connected to stuff. I love this as your guys' foundation. I think that this is why you have so much energy and positivity and why you're feeling so creative. The King of Cups would indicate like sort of balanced emotions or control over one's emotions, but an appreciation for that. And so to me, when I look at this King of Cups in the past, it says to me that ideally, hopefully my Virgos have been feeling good leading up to this point. And now in all of that sort of good feelings, we're starting to like, okay, how do I build upon this? How do I make more of this, right? And that's this fertility rabbit energy of like wanting to produce more, wanting to get more done. The Knight of Swords is here as our center, and in thinking about it and going, okay, where's my energy best placed, right, to get things to where I want them to be. The King of Cups too could indicate sort of like this period. The Page of Cups is really the dreamer, but I associate all of the cups kind of with these emotive dream energy, right? And so when I think about the King kind of thinks about things in a little bit more, I would say, of a practical nature and a more astute nature, but he's still got that Cups energy of that sort of lovey emotions, watery sort of vibe. So there may have been a period where some of my Virgos were thinking about, how do I get to where I want to be so that I can feel more and more emotionally complete, more and more emotionally sort of happy and fulfilled? And that's why I like this King of Cups underneath. Is it sort of feels like the drive here is to get your guys to a really genuinely better place, or to uphold the place that you maybe have felt like you've been in for a little while leading up to this point. Let's see what the higher self or spirit card is. Okay, I love it. So we have the Knight of Cups. So we've got a lot of Cups energy around this Knight of Swords, but I'm not bothered by that. Cups is Virgo's natural complementary energy, right? Or element. It's the water signs versus the earth signs. So I love that you have the Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups can be an offering of love. It's also this idea of connecting, like our spirit telling us to connect to those emotions and to act from those places of emotions, to act from the truth of those emotions, of how we feel, and then to act accordingly, to defend those feelings, to take up sort of for the rights of our feelings, to really honor those sort of things. I feel like when we have this King of Cups in the foundation and the Knight of Cups in the higher self space, we're really in our feels this month. But I don't think that that's going to hurt us. I think that that's actually lending to this creativity, lending to these fertile ideas, lending to that energy of like wanting to be kind of connected to our world in a prosperous and beneficial, loving way versus maybe disconnected and hiding out. You're not doing that at all, Virgo. You're actually ready to do the action, to take the steps, to move things along, or to begin to create these hopefully better relationships, better I would say like more emotionally connected experiences, either through your work, through your home, through your family, through whatever it is you're working on, Virgo. It's going to hopefully feel desirable and right. The key word here being feel, right? Because we're talking about the cups cards, and the Knight and the King to me speak to this idea of really truly being connected to that and believing in that and acting from that place, getting it done from that place. The next two cards are the outside influences. These tell me a bit about what could be influencing you during the month of February, either positively or negatively. They can be people or events or things more vague like belief systems or energies that are having an effect on us during this month. So let's look. All right, we have the Empress. I love it. She's the planet Venus. She's associated with Venus, which is associated with Taurus. So I always consider her kind of earth energy. She's also always depicted in this sort of field. She usually has, I believe she usually has like she definitely has a fertility aspect. So some of y'all could be getting knocked up. Like be careful, Virgo, if you're not ready for kids, because we're seeing this rabbit and we're seeing the Empress. It could represent for that. And also with all of that emotion stuff going on with those cups, the Knight of Cups and the King of Cups, some of you all could be like having a little bit of a paramour situation. So be aware of that. If you're not interested in that, just, use protection. But with the Empress, it also goes into the state of creativity being at an all-time high. She wants to make us find the things that we love, being associated with the planet Venus. The love that we see in the Knight of Cups and in the King of Cups, as we connect to that and we like let that be our driving force, right? We're able to take action in our mind towards getting ourselves there. The Empress wants to provide us with the opportunities throughout the month of February to further explore this love, to further explore the things that we desire at a like more emotional level, right? To me, I feel like there's a lot of again, we're seeing another two. I'm going to say this about purity. There's a lot of white imagery in this, right? We have the white owl, we have the white Empress cat, we have the white King of Cups, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we have a white Knight of Cups up here. So there's a lot of pure intention in this month for you guys. That's what the white is representing to me. Is it's like, as long as we keep our perspective, our emotions clean and pure and based in love, we can really create whatever it is that we want this month. We'll have the energy to do it. We even have the environment sort of working with us through this energy of the Empress to help us sort out and find those things that we do love and work towards them. She wants to make it easier for us. She wants to make it sort of more accessible, right, through the things that come to us. I wouldn't be surprised if opportunities come to us that just sort of fall into our lap that are absolutely like whoa, synchronistic or unexpected, but still like perfectly aligned. I kind of feel like there's a little bit of an alignment thing going on. It's interesting. I don't know exactly what's going on with the planets this over the course of February, but we are shifting. I will say this too, by end of February, midpoint of February to the end of February, we hit Pisces season, which is your complementary sign, right? Virgo is the 6th sign, Pisces is the 12th. So we will be in that Pisces energy too. So that might explain some of why all of this cups is happening in your space. Does that make sense? Because Pisces, to me, being your complementary sign, you're connected to it in that way, right? You're linked to it. So it's going to be affecting you maybe. There might be something going on planetarily too, because this feels like, I almost want to say like all doors are open for this one. Okay. The other perspective or the other outside influence is they call it the Knave of Wands. This is the Page of Wands. To me, pages always represent sort of youthful. They can be youthful people of the fire sign variety, right? So we're talking Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, but this could be an opportunity to learn through sort of dynamic action, situations where we need to make decisions. I feel the reason why that is because it feels like that Knight of Swords is swooping in on that Page of Wands. To me, there's an opportunity here, or there may be multiple opportunities where we get to learn about stuff through our desires and taking the action. That would also be the Page of Wands energy. He's about taking action, right? He's that element of fire. But the Knight of Swords is that sort of intelligence and that ability to think quickly. The two of them working together, right, will be able to sort of move things along. And I think that the Empress is this bigger energy of gifting you with these opportunities that might come through, not split second, but I do feel like you need to make a quick decision, right? Like this is something might come to you through this Knave of Wands. And this could be, like I said, through a person, or it could just be like through an experience where we have to make a quick decision and we may not feel like we have all the answers. Like we're like, oh, I want to think about this. Virgo, we may not have time to think about it. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. Like that's also the impulsivity of the Knight of Swords. It's like we may have to jump on it. But what I would suggest as a good sort of measure for this, when the opportunities come or when the options come or when decisions get made in February, do they feel right? And I say feel because we have that Knight of Cups in this spirit space and we're being driven by that King of Cups from the past. So we need to trust our feelings about things. And that's not necessarily always Virgo's go-to. I think that Virgo tends to be a little mixture of feelings and a little bit more of judgment and discernment, right? That's what you guys are good at. And so I think that you guys are going to want to check in with your feelings as you sort of move through this. Ultimately, I feel like the Empress is in the background as the bigger sort of all-encompassing energy of let's give Virgo some big ups. Let's give Virgo some big opportunities this month. And as you do that, or as you sort of explore them, even if you don't know what they are, or don't know what they are, even if you don't know whether like in the moment, do I say yes to this or do I say no? You may have to make a quick decision and you're going to have to trust your sort of your gut, your emotions, that sort of thing, but they won't steer you wrong. Neither will the Empress. Does that make sense? So, and I think that's part of this creativity is at its peak. I feel like the energy is going to move really fast for Virgo in February. So if you find things like doors opening and other doors maybe closing, just let them open and close and go through the ones that feel the most right to you. That would be my feeling. The Empress will lead you there as long as you stay sort of balanced in this, all of this sort of Cups energy and then the intelligence and quickness of the Knight of Swords. I hope that makes sense. All right, so the next card is what I call the potential outcomes card. This tells me where things will potentially end up for the majority of the Virgos by month's end. Now, the reason why I call it potential is it's not set in stone. If this is a negative card, we can use it as a warning to make choices and changes in our lives to affect the outcome. So it's not set in stone, but if it is a good card, we can take heart in the fact that we're naturally heading towards it without having to do much to change it, right? It's just sort of coming our way. So let's see what that is. Okay, so this is the Nine of Swords. I don't like this as the outcome. I'm going to say that right out of the gate. This is like worry and nerves and fear. It's usually unfounded fears or stresses where we're too much in our mind, too much in our head. I kind of feel like, where does this kick in? I kind of wonder if Virgo's going to be a little bit put off by the amount of speed that decisions are going to need to be made with, is my sort of feeling. Like in essence, are we because these opportunities or these situations that come at us so quickly, are we fearful of making those decisions too quickly without thinking them through? Because that would be sort of, to me, a very Virgo trait, would want to be to like sort of weigh all of the options before making a decision. And the Knight of Swords and the Knave of Wands don't indicate that we have that time. They feel like much faster to me. So does that Rabbit card. It feels faster to me. It feels like we have to move quickly. And so the Nine of Swords makes me think, like, do we trust the decisions that we make, or do we trust our feelings? And I think that we're supposed to, and we can, but will we mentally really truly trust them? Does that make sense? That's the Nine of Swords. Ultimately, nines are about personal completion. So any fear, worry, or doubt we may have to leave, or we might be trying to reason ourselves out of by the end of the month. So this could be a good card. It doesn't necessarily signify a bad card, but it's usually about worrying and fretting over stuff that we can't control anyways. So, and that's something that I think that Virgo kind of likes to do, is you guys like to really figure out the plan and then act on the plan and have the plan unfold. And this to me feels like, because it's the Spirit card and the Foundation are more emotional, they're a little bit more fluid, they're a little bit more, there's not a single pentacle in this reading either. Even the Empress, she's sort of associated with Taurus, but she's technically associated with the planet of Venus, which could also kind of be love and emotions and stuff like that. So to me, when I'm looking at this, there's not a lot to keep Virgo super grounded per se. And that might be what's causing this sort of month-end anxiety or worry, right? Because sometimes when we go after the thing that we desire, or that we feel the most strongly towards, or that love, that we have to act quickly. We have to act from a place of love, and sometimes that feels scary. And I could see where that would bring in this Nine of Swords energy, where we're feeling like, oh my God, did I do the right thing? Oh my God, I hope I didn't make a mistake doing this now, or you know, I hope I don't screw this up as I go forward. It's that kind of an energy. And we may need to sort of clear that out at the end of the month, so that we can get to, so that we can stay in the purity that I see in all of these white animals. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense, because I feel like there's an opportunity here for you guys. Definitely an opportunity here for you guys to create something maybe that you've been sitting on or wanting or desiring for a while, but you have to trust it. And so don't let all of this creation and maybe split-second decision-making, because that's the swiftness of the rabbit too. And I feel like I'm hearing in my head sort of like, oh, no, wait, I need to slow down. I need to think about this. I need to think about this. But when we slow down and we think about it, that's when we shift into that Nine of Swords fear, because we're not trusting either our gut, the environment. It's kind of got that vibe. I hope that makes sense, Virgo. I'm interested to hear how it goes for you in the month of February. Please leave a comment, hit the thumbs up symbol if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel if you like, and vice versa. If you're watching on Facebook, please go over to YouTube and subscribe to the channel. And if you're watching on YouTube, please go over and like the business page over on Facebook. And I will see you guys next month. And you can always join me on the Facebook business page every morning, or no, not on the Facebook business page, on YouTube every morning for the daily forecast. All right, take care, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.